Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, this has been an interesting month of interestingness as I jumped on LBRY at the beginning of the year. Brian Lunduke's like, LBRY is a good place, and he posts his comments encouraging Linux YouTubers to get over there. And I actually spent some time investigating. I was like, you know what? All right, let's go ahead and give this thing a try. Click in the little button, sign everything up. They sync over, like 1,000 videos over. So I launched the channel out with like 1,000 videos, and actually grew to be on their top 200 channels list. But I've been having this internal discussion with my patron supporters and Think Life Media supporters for the better part of a month now, and I have to come to the final conclusion that I need to leave the LBRY platform. I want nothing to do with that flaming dumpster fire that happens to be called a LBRY. And I want to explain why this happens to be. Now, I do run a family-friendly channel over here. This video is going to push those boundaries. So if you are watching with little kids in the room, there may be some inappropriate content here. Because that is really why I have left the LBRY platform. And I made some decisions and think about this. So let's go ahead and start out with this. Obviously, as some people know, as you can find Linux channels on Slack. Apparently somebody added the next negative. I'm too religious. Burn! No, I am a Christian though. And I take my faith very seriously. And part of that is I maintain sexual purity. I maintain good morals and ethics, and I maintain living by that golden rule. And one of the factors of this is that I want to make sure that if I'm even recommending something, that it's going to not negatively impact the people that might be listening to my recommendations. Even if that means losing some money, because this could potentially mean losing some income. I'm okay with that. I know that my God will take care of me, even if I have to leave some money on the table. And I stopped and thought about this, and I want to just introduce this, and that's about all I want to say about that. I just want to start by saying I'm not necessarily a prude. I don't care if some of these things necessarily exist. I have made the decision I'm not going to watch some of this type of content that you find on the internet. So the existence of Pornhub and, perfect girls and other crap like that, I don't care. I block it on my servers. I block it on my phone so I don't accidentally land over there and someone accessing my internet can't get there either. But there comes a point in time when if something is so in your face, I'm just like, you know what? You've lost your ever-loving mind. And that has happened with LBRY. Now, sometimes when you land on LBRY's front page, it's fairly clean. Sometimes it's fairly not. Obviously, there are a lot of sexual connotations with this one down here. Hot, fun news now. That's right. Now, I can say that when I pulled this up, was it Thursday or Friday, and we were discussing this, there were a lot more risque things than are on here right now. But overall, you can see there's some content's just mostly whatever. Some content's really good. Some content's really bad. It really becomes a mixed bag. And I've been watching this closely because this is the top 200 LBRY channels. And if you want to know kind of what I'm walking away from over here, my channel right now is listed at 126, moving up. Is this? I think this number is moving up your number of positions, or is this your follower changing? So I'm literally still growing in subscribers right now as I'm in the process of deleting this account. And so the problem is, of course, I'm in this mad rush competition to beat the porn channel. And actually, I'll beat it. I've actually moved up 3 or 4 positions. It hasn't moved much. So apparently Linux content's more exciting than the porn content. There's other good things on here. I saw Chris Ware up here a minute ago. DistroTube's way up here. I think he's like 19 or 20 or something. So there's some awesome content up here. Where's he at? Yep, DistroTube's number 19. We got Lunduke dropped down to 5 or down to 4. Timcast is 5. Linux Gamer is 6. Oh, Brian, Linux Gamer's catching up with you. Linux Gamer's catching up. We have the Khan Academy. There's a lot of things, but there's also a whole lot of things. If you actually look at the listings, there's also things that are, we already looked at that one. We got this one. We got this one, we got this one. And this is what's happening is LBRY is becoming this massive place to just start uploading all your porn to. And of course, there's this argument that says, we can't take content down. That's actually not in their policy. They actually say they can take content down if it is a DMCA or if it is what, quote, horrific is what they say. So yes, in theory, they can take down whatever they want. And I'm okay with the fact that LBRY is becoming the latest Pornhub. I just won't go there. And I'm not going to tell people go look for my videos on this place if you're going to go there and I'm going to be competing next to some bad, risque stuff right next to it. And we're not talking about politically dissenting things. Ooh, the left versus the right. I'm not talking about the left versus right. I'm talking about installing a distribution or getting serviced by a woman and having a graphic thumbnail about it. And I have seen that type of stuff show up on LBRY. Okay. And I have been watching this page for the better part of a month trying to come to this decision. And so I finally decided that I'm going to be killing the LBRY account. So I sent them an email. And basically, they do not have a way that you can go ahead and they don't have a way that you can go ahead and just delete the account. You have to email them. Now, the first time I saw a bad email come through, because we have to understand this, I never signed up for their email list. They just added me to it without my consent, which I have a big problem with. Now, I could go down and say, just unsubscribe me from this email list, but instead, this is the very first email I received on their newsletter list. It is highlighted. I'll highlight it here on my screen if I can. LBRY cast, official LBRY thing. Open this starring message about C*** on redacted tonight. Really? That's your professional introduction to your company. So I requested to close the account and they send me an email back. Let me actually grab that email they sent back here. So they sent me an email back and it was, sorry to hear you want to close your account. Can you please specifically point out what went wrong or why you did not like so we can improve? Feedback from community members like you help LBRY in serving the community well. Please let me know what your expectations were and what did not work out so we can improve and make sure others like you will not face the same issue or at least have the same experience you did not like. And B, only you can delete your published items and content on LBRY. No one else can. And that is actually what that statement is in the email, is completely contradictory to their terms of service, which says they can delete horrific or DMCA content. They have to be able to. So this is the email I wrote back to LBRY. I was going to just write something fast. I'm like, no, I'm going to stop. And it took a while to write this. Said, Dear LBRY, I wish to close my account and have nothing to do with your service. While I do think alternatives to YouTube would be beneficial, and my followers in my community are advocates of going in different directions from YouTube, I do use a hint of my own morality in making my business decisions. I am willing to leave money on the table if it means a better society, and from what I have seen from LBRY so far, I do not see it adding anything to our world, but rather I see a company that has no morality or scruples. Let me explain. I was first excited with the ability to sync my rather large library of videos from YouTube to LBRY, but the issue came only a few days later when I received an email from LBRY about a channel event or something. I know it was from your company. Here is the headline. LBRY cast. Open this starring message about C** on redacted tonight. A little out there, and frankly, I'm not a prude, but I do not want to see things more explicit than spammers send to me, and I have never signed up for this mailing list anyway. I wanted to give the library a chance to respond, so I reached out to Tom Zarabican to address my concerns. He is the community leader, right? This is the guy listed on their page as the, quote, community leader. I emailed him that day. I got that email, by the way. Let me find the date I got that email. Right. I received that email on January 3rd, 2020. That day, I emailed Tom. I have not received a response. Okay, so he's the community leader, right? I never heard anything from Tom one way or the other. I got another unsolicited email. Library cast, sexy genius killer robots in space with lasers. Little less crude, but nevertheless. A few more innocuous headlines hit my box, and then I get this one. Library down to F star February. During the meantime, I've been watching the top channel list and finding that many of them are just downright pornography. And going to the homepage of your service, even with not safe for work disabled, I am still seeing more things I do not want to see. Because of these things, I will not be telling my users, many of which are still teenagers, to be going to your service. Of course, just before I requested the account closure, I received this one, Library Cast, a V-Day special, sex advice, and there's the emoji for titties right there in my inbox for a mailing list that I never signed up for, and I'm seeking responses from the company. Now, I've never signed up for this email list, and while I could have requested to be removed, I was still holding out hope to hear something back from your community leader. But maybe he's just too busy to address community concerns. Why do I take the stance? Well, I'm not bothered if such content exists. I do not look at it. And I even considered leaving my channel on this service because I can provide one more pleasant content in an area of not safe for work. But it has become clear to me that I will have no option but to leave my videos listed next to content that has indeed destroyed so many lives. Because of what I see in your brand new service devolving into, I really want nothing to do with it. I'd be happy to answer any other questions. So I received this response back from them. Really sorry to hear about your experience. We understand the concerns. LBRY, being such a small company in a huge market, we're willing to take some risks with some provocative emails and stances, but we can see how off-putting it could be for some. If you go into your email preferences at the bottom of any of our emails, there's a breakdown of categories which you can unsubscribe from. We'll do a better job of creating a new welcome email that explains how to manage email preferences up front. As far as the not safe for work content, it's disabled by default in the application, but since creators still self-tag content, sometimes they may miss. Oh yeah, I'm sure the creators are missing the mature tag. No, they're pushing it out without the mature tag is what they're doing. Duh. All right. They may miss the mature tag, and we rely on community members to help us report it. I'm sorry you had this experience. And then they tell you, they need the default wallet file in the account, which I sent them yesterday. I've not seen any change on the channel as of yet. And so I want to go in and address this idea about, hey, we're using sex to sell. Basically what they said is, hey, we're going to use sex to sell, and we're going to send it directly to your inbox unsolicited. I'm going to go into why that mentality is going to hurt them in a few minutes. But I do want to say in response to all of this, I see LBRY turning into nothing but the next Pornhub, to be perfectly candid. And I don't want anything to do with this. Now, what is the big deal? Well, if you enjoy that type of content, it has not yet come to your realization how dangerous that type of content is for you. But I myself have had to help, I can't remember how many people off of a variety of different addictions. 3, I think, have been pornography addictions. And it is a dangerous road. And when you come to this realization in your life that this stuff is destroying you, but you're so addicted you can't get off of it, it starts to ruin your life. And there are entire organizations to try and help people get off of the pornography addiction. In fact, I did a video about it on this channel a couple years ago. Now, in response to that, of course, I'm not here calling for the closure of all these sites. I'm not here telling people what they can or can't do. And if you're like, I don't see a problem with it, I look at it every day, it just hasn't wrecked your life yet. The reckoning day is coming. And by the way, these groups are not just all Christian groups. I'm shocked by the number of non-Christian, non-religiously affiliated groups that have sprung up around this issue. And now I see LBRY, they want to be the next alternative, and unsolicitedly, they're sending me stuff more explicit than the scammers send me. I didn't even look into this, but I'm willing to bet. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to load up my spam mail in an old throwaway Hotmail account. Let's see what we get. All right, loophole converts your IRA to physical gold. That's exciting. Vitamin B to help you with that. Let me just find something that's a little bit more crass here. Microwave popcorn causes Alzheimer's disease. You guys know that? That's fun. Eating for breakfast saves your prostate. That's fun. Okay. I'm not even getting scammers sending me Viagra ads anymore. What's up with this? Literally, I'd rather be getting these spammers emails than what LBRY is sending me unsolicitedly. Now, I want to ask this question. Does sex really sell? Because you hear this, oh, sex really sells, man. Sex sells. We use sex because it sells. Actually, it turns out that there's been a whole lot of research articles. This is one peer-reviewed article, which is called a meta-analysis, meaning they went through all of the available research data at the time. This is published in Psychological Bulletin from Ohio State University and the University in Amsterdam. That's exciting. The overall basics, do sex and violence sell? Well, it actually turns out they really don't. Now, there's one area that using sex sells. This is the area if you are selling a sexual product. You're selling your latest not safe for work content, or you're selling a box of condoms, or you're selling birth control pills, whatever. Sex sells in that case. But what the research actually finds is that when your product has nothing to do with this general topic, it actually hurts sales. So you can read through this whole thing here. I'll try and remember to throw it down in the comments there. If you guys want to read through it, it's a massive multi-page scientific literature report here. So you can actually go ahead and have a look at this actual article. But what was a little bit more easy to see is this one from Business Insider. Do you think sex sells? Think again. And they look at it. So why do people believe sex sells? Well, they say we have an old reptilian brain that's built for, that's kind of built for, reproduction and things, keep the species alive. That's the theory. Now, the previous article we just looked at, the big meta-analysis, they actually say, no, sex doesn't sell because of this reptilian brain. Because we're so focused on that part, we forget what the product is. We remember the sex, we forget what the product is. Okay, so that's the idea. They hear it repeatedly. A million people say a stupid thing. It's still a stupid thing. It doesn't matter how many times you repeat it. It gets attention. It's taboo. Used in a lot of advertising. Hey, let's just all keep using it. It does sell products related to sex. That's one of the things we do know. Now, when is it not effective? For many products that are not related to sexuality, using sex to sell them does not work. It can even backfire. A recent University of Wisconsin study shows that audiences view ads 10% less favorably if they use sex to sell an unsexy product. One good example of this was a Jack in the Box commercial. Actually, I think it might be linked down here below, so I won't talk about it yet unless it's not linked. Says here, let's see. The study agrees with data that David Ogilvy accumulated over his lifelong and storied career of advertising. In his book, is it Ogilvy? I don't know. That's a bad book I can't even say that book name, but it looks fascinating. On advertising, he says that sex sells only if it's relevant to the subject being sold. Advertising professor Jeff Richards from the University of Texas says sex sells, but only if you're selling sex. What are some of the reasons? Number one, some are offended. I'm not going to send you to a product if you're just going to have sexual messages thrown in front of you. Gratuitous sex advertising has caused a growing chorus of people, especially women, to be repulsed. Yes, here is the Jack in the Box commercial. All right. That's not it. This one. Oh, this is it. This is it. This is the commercial.
Aw, Mom, you still clip coupons.
Well, it all adds up.
That's sweet, Mom. In honor of your thriftiness, I'll serve 2 croissant sandwiches for just $3, made with fresh egg, sausage, or our new hickory smoked bacon and melting cheese.
You're such a good son. I'm so glad you dropped by.
I love coming home, Mom.
Okay, so up to that point in time, the commercial's just fine.
Patty, call the doctor. It's been more than 4 hours.
Really? Jack in the Box commercials. Yes. Nothing says serve me up a croissant sandwich on with bacon and eggs like a 4-hour erection. What? Yeah. So of course some blogger mom got all mad about that. Let's see. There's just some of the comments that people left on her blog post. This is a decade ago. There's no connection whatsoever, at least in my world, between breakfast croissants and erection lasting more than 4 hours. Gentle Hands says, it's so horrible. I'm actually shocked. I don't want to eat there as long as this is their idea of a joke. Yeah, this is the thing, right? Some people say it's a gimmick. Some people believe using sex to sell a product that is unrelated to sex is a gimmick that cheapens both the image of the company and the product. This is where I'm sitting. They are spamming my inbox with spammy garbage about sex without me even signing into an email. I never opted to receive this email from them. And again, oh yes, you could just go in and delete the email. Well, I mean, I could, but you know what? I don't want you to send explicit stuff like that to my inbox. Two scenarios, if they never sent me emails, and my content just brewed next to that kind of stuff, or if their community leader responded to damn emails, I might actually have stayed on the platform. But since it's very clear to me that your community leader doesn't care about your community, and you're sending me smut that's more offensive and disgusting and vile than spammers are sending me, I don't want anything to do with your dumpster fire. Let me out of the dumpster. It's getting hot in here. Distracts from the product shortcomings. Others believe that the product must not have enough capabilities for the company to employ sex rather than product features. In other words, our product sucks, but here's some people having sex, have our product. Doesn't matter. People forget the product. Those that are attracted to the ad for the reason unrelated to the product benefits tend to remember what attracted them rather than the product. In other words, that's actually what that previous study showed, is that yeah, your attention was higher, but your attention was not on the product. So that's kind of the case. So does sex sell? Only if you're selling sex. So either LBRY is trying to sell sex with their new email campaign, or they have completely lost their mark. As it stands, I'm not sending my content over there. I'm not sending my viewers over there, and I want off of the roller coaster before it gets too hot and flies off the thing. So if you're watching my stuff over on LBRY, sorry, you won't have that option going forward. I do still have the BitChute account, although they're just as crazy. At least they're not sending me sexual crap in my inbox without my recommendations. And to be perfectly candid, when I go over to BitChute, I have not seen any of that type of content at all anyway. So, hey, if you don't like YouTube and you want to watch my stuff, watch it on BitChute. It might be a week or two late because they're not syncing videos correctly. At least LBRY syncs videos correctly, but anyway. I don't know. That's my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Is LBRY a dumpster fire, or am I just too overly religious of a zealot to care? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.